Mariyam, welcome to SpeakuP Monday.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Great to be here.
Great, man. Looking forward to getting deep with you, mate. Seeing what's going on, seeing what's beneath the bonnet. So for those of you watching, every Monday we're here 7 o'clock when we start, and it's an inspirational Q&A that delivers some really insightful content that we can then take into our lives and do something with that gives us a positive result. And the one thing I'll quickly say, and I'll stop talking, is that I see life as a big jigsaw puzzle, right? So jigsaw puzzle, we all have a piece. It's an amazing picture. And our piece, there's three things which are really important. One part is that we do what we do best. So we do what we do best and we learn how to master that skill. The second piece is that we don't keep it to ourselves, right? Well, it's not about competition, it's about cooperation, okay? It's about collaboration, right? So keeping it to myself is thinking a little bit too small. And the third one, which is very important, is that it's a project or initiative that is uplifting humanity in one shape or form. And so SpeakuP Monday has got a piece to this jigsaw puzzle, and undoubtedly, if you're watching this, you have a piece too. All right. Ooh, take a breath. Ooh, yeah. All right. So now let's get on to our beautiful guests. So we'll start off with you, Rob, because you're sitting closer to me.
All right.
So maybe you'd like to tell us where you're from and a little bit about your childhood growing up.
Well, I'm actually from Bristol in the UK, born there. Didn't spend much time there. By the age of 7, interestingly, I got moved out to Austria, of all places, as my family had a travel agency. So we used to travel out there all the time. From the age of 3, I started skiing, basically. So that's how I became a skier. At the age of 7, I moved to Austria, took part in my first competition there in the local club race, and I won it, beating all the local kids who were not very happy at the time, of course, because, you know, Austria is a skiing nation, and every man and his dog skis, and there's me, this little English kid, winning the race. So that didn't go down too well. I didn't actually get the trophy that night. They didn't give it to me. I got it the next day. So that was that. So, yeah, I then moved on. We continued to live in Austria for 25 years. I stayed there, and went through the ranks of skiing, became the youngest ever British senior slalom, an overall champion. At the age of 18, I qualified for the Olympic Games in Calgary. I went there, came 21st in slalom, which was a great result at the time. And that was that. I was doing great. I was going to do even better. But I then moved on, actually, to train with the Norwegian team, because they were the best in the world at the time, because I reached the highest level I could within the British team, because I was pretty much the best at the time, arguably. Some would say not, but I think so. And so I trained with those guys who were the Olympic champion, the World Cup champion at the time. I got really good, did great, until one day, the last training run of the last day before the first World Cup in Bali, I had a massive crash and broke my leg, my knee in multiple places. Not due to my mistake, it was a coaching mistake. They forgot to take the lip of snow off a jump, and I went, just a horrible crash. So that was that. That was the end of my ski career.
Wow. And you know, like, there's so many things to touch upon there, so I'm really getting, I'm excited to touch on some of these points. But so then your parents, so they, is it fair to say that they had that get up and go in them, that sense of adventure? And was your dad more, I don't know?
Definitely both of them. They're both crazy in their own way. I mean, I'm not quite sure who's worse. But they're both extremely adventurous people and creative, not together anymore for many, many years, but, you know, love you guys. Yeah, and don't forget, my father and mother had this travel agency back in the 70s, and they were all over the place at the time. They were inventing things. They were bringing out school kids, actually. So the main business was to get the school kids from the UK out to Austria, Germany, Italy, to have a skiing vacation, which was a fantastic thing. Something that the kids couldn't do otherwise. They couldn't afford. They made it affordable.
Far out. And then, which gift would you say, if you had to nail it down and say, well, Dad had this amazing gift, and Mum had this amazing gift, what would you say those gifts were?
It's quite easy, really. My father is extremely good at business, very level-headed, and a great mentor. Fantastic. My mother, on the other hand, is really good with people, listens, and is caring. That's it.
Got it. And would you say that you have both of those? Which trait for you comes out the most?
That's a hard one. Probably bit of both, but not all of either. So, you know, I'm good at business, but I've had a lot of businesses. I also messed up a little bit, not some to my own wrongdoing, other down to economic crises and so on and so forth. So, you know, I've been good at it, but I've had my hiccups. Yeah. So, but I'm also good with people, I believe, and I'm caring, that's for sure. Yeah. So.
Well, look, you know, when I met you that day in La Brisa Markets, right? And obviously we had a good mutual friend, Mark Baker. Great guy, Baker. If you're watching there, mate, we love you, mate. And we love you, Mark. We love you, mate. And it was really cool because then I got to meet you, and what I got the impression of was someone who's up to something, someone who is not taking life lying down, someone who is out there to kind of going and getting life, right? And then also keeping in mind that you're doing something which is definitely inspiring other people. Definitely, I mean, health to me, probably the most important thing that we have. If we don't have that, we don't have anything. And, you know, so I loved your vision, and I loved your character.
Thank you.
I loved your character, right? So then, you know, if I mention character to you, you know, like what comes up for you in the context of your life and character?
Well, I mean, you need character, of course. You need to do anything today. You've got to be a go-getter. You've got to be daring. You've got to put yourself on the line to achieve anything. You know, if you're sitting behind a desk, if you're too scared or worried to you know, try what you may be dreaming of doing, you're not going to do it. That's the bottom line. So you need character and confidence to do that. And of course, I'm lucky because I did get that from my parents. I have that entrepreneurial spirit. So yes, having great character as such, or good character, or whichever kind of character, also gets you into trouble, don't forget. You know, so I've had plenty of that in my life too, don't worry. Plenty of trouble, oh my God.
And like, so when you're getting into trouble, we won't put you on the spot, which means obviously we're going to put you on the spot.
Oh, great.
So when you're getting into trouble, how did you get yourself out? What was there anything that you did on a consistent basis that managed to get you out of the trouble?
Mostly calling my dad at the time got me out of trouble back in the day. Well, is true for way back in the day, but you know, I had a period in life when I was really pretty crazy. Well, look, once you become a ski racer and you're canoeing down a hill at 120 kilometers an hour, you're kind of crazy. You've got to be, and of course that continued throughout the rest of my life. My parents probably realized that I was pretty crazy all along, and I didn't realize that until way later, because I would just keep doing crazy stuff, be it rally driving my car at 3 a.m, drunk in the Alps, in the snow, crashing into rivers, and things like that, you know, and so, yeah, you know, you just get yourself into all kinds of trouble by doing stupid things. And that was then. I mean, that's all stopped now in the last 5 years, so that's when my life changed, around 2016-ish.
You know, like what makes me smile is that, so when I look in your eye, I get this cheeky grin, like this cheeky glint, and Miriam's laughing. She knows it, because that's why, that's what you saw in him, right? But it's a beautiful thing, right? So without you even saying that, I know you were a naughty boy, right? But also the sense which I get about you is that you're a naughty boy, but you're always good-natured. Like, it was never to put anyone down consciously, like, it was never about that, right? It was about experimenting and adventure.
I would put myself in danger and do crazy stuff to myself. Some people would come along for the ride. Nobody ever got hurt, thank God, except for myself, a little bit here and there. But yeah, it was always in good intentions, you know. So yeah.
And look, Miriam, we're coming to you in a second, darling. Not the same questions, don't worry, babe. So then, you know, like, so you've been really successful in business, right? So what do you think, if you could choose a couple of things, a couple of reasons, a couple of things that you have within you that allowed you to have that type of success, what would they be?
Well, it's like I said before, it's having that entrepreneurial spirit, first of all, having the go-getter mentality. No is not an answer. You know, you want to, of course, also being from the family that I'm from, I always wanted to be independent. I've never been employed my whole life. Some say I may be unemployable, whatever, I don't care at this point, but it was always, I just want to do my thing, I want to create my own thing, I want to be free, and I want to make a difference, make something happen, you know. So that's what I did in the most unconventional ways. All my businesses started from scratch in industries that at the time were just starting out too. It wasn't like an established industry where I just suddenly came up and had another idea. It was like, no, this is starting from the beginning.
Got it.
You know, so
got it. And
which is the case right now too, more or less, with the keto thing that we're doing here in Bali, at least. I mean, keto's been around for a while in other countries, but here it's quite young.
And we'll get to that in a second. So I'm going to let you have a little refreshment break, and then I'm going to get on to Miriam. So Miriam, thank you firstly for coming in.
Yes, thank you too.
Have a little glass of wine.
Really appreciate it. And look, what I love about this, right, is that SpeakuP Monday right now, we're focused on Indonesia, right? So we call it Destination Indonesia Series, right? And that's on purpose because, there's people like me and Rob and like there's Arno over there. I shouldn't have mentioned his name, but I just did. There you go. Bit of a plug. Nice French guy. But it's, we come here, we obviously love it. We love being here. We love the energy about it. We love this transformative energy that Bali seems to have, right? And we're still here. And, so from your perspective, what for you, firstly, attracted you to this beautiful guy? And secondly, yeah, there you go, baby. Straight in, because I know that she's got it. I know you got it. So yeah, firstly, what attracted you to Rob? And secondly, what attracted you to go into business with Rob?
Before I was been work is different because before I'm employee then, and I decide to, after married with Rob, and I decide to resign from my company before, and now that's new challenge for me. And
So what made you get involved with me? What do you think? Because I'm so sexy?
No.
Handsome?
No, but that's for mine. I think now I have to start to make it my own. So it's enough for me. It's 9 years for be like employment now. When I start to be entrepreneur too. Same with my husband. I learned many things from her. Yeah.
So it's that learning, right? So I've been with my partner Marina, who's from Jakarta. We've got 2 little kids, 4 and 6. So it's been 8 years, far out. It's 7, 8 years. Well, anyway, Marina, if you're watching, love you, baby. So it's interesting, right? Because these interracial, couplings, marriages, or intimate relationships, I find it fascinating. For me, I find that it's the best of both worlds, right? Yeah. But there's also, there's a bit of kind of getting used to one another as well in any relationship. But then when you have cultural differences going in there, then it can feel a little bit different, right? So for you, maybe let's go back a little bit. So where were you born here?
Yeah, I was born here in Bali, especially. So I came from Bali, but my mom's from Ambon, Maluku, and my father's from Flores. So, originally from Bali. So,
And your mom and dad.
Yeah.
So what kind of people are they, or were they, or are they, like adventurous in spirit? Are they like pushing you on, saying, "Hey, Miriam, go and seek your fortune. Get out there, try it, get amongst it," or are they more, reserved in that say, "Hey, just come and stay at home," right? You don't need to do this. Just stay at home and hang out with us.
No, my parents is not like to involve to my life. So it's like, just doing what you want. It's free. Yeah.
So extremely supportive.
Yeah, always supportive.
Wonderful. Yeah. And then, are there any siblings that you have, like brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have 2 brothers.
Older, younger?
This first, my brother is 40, I think.
Yeah,
40,
both older.
Both older.
Yeah.
So I'm third.
Yeah. So you're the little sister, right?
Yeah.
So it's in your face. Your little sister. So which things do you think that you learned at home that kind of help you to do what you're doing now, being a businesswoman in business with this wonderful man? Like, what things at home do you think inspired you to actually do that?
Oh, well. Not really.
I can probably help a little bit with that from what I've learned. I mean, her family is extremely organized. They're supportive. They have a very strong community, a sense of understanding. It's just very organized and and creative in their own way. So that those elements have given Mariyam the chance to, or the opportunity, and she's also very intelligent, so she can get out there and do her stuff quite easily, as long as she's got, finally a platform. Because many people here, many locals are often stuck in a certain situation, employment they can't really get out of because there isn't or aren't that many other opportunities. But Mariyam has she has the guts and, dare I say, the balls to do it, because not many people will give up a job in a 5-star hotel that she did to come and work with me.
Especially my husband's support.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah, because so we just had a quick chat before. And, it's interesting because, like, what I get from you, just from how you were listening, is that, you're this quietly strong person, this quietly strong woman. And like, last week we had another Balinese woman on, and that was Radnya. She makes you roll my R's. And like, same from Bali. And she was saying, that the Balinese women are strong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Are strong. Like, these women are doing all the physically as well, doing all the harder work and raising their child at the same time, right? But this is this is part of your DNA, right? This is part of who you are. This is part of what you came pre-wired with, right? And what she was saying was that there are some people who choose to look into that and to use that to move forwards, and others who are happy just to sit back and let the cultural aspects just to sit back, take it easy, relax. I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong, by the way, just saying what kind of is. So then for you, if you don't mind me asking, so is there a religion that you follow, or are you Christian, Muslim, or none of the above?
I'm Muslim.
Okay, cool. And like, how is that interaction within your relationship? Maybe it's a question for you, Robbie, as well. How has that come out, do you think? So we're talking about the religious, nature of your partner. My partner's also Muslim too, by the way. But just wondering, I'm fascinated with interracial couples and relationships, right? Yeah. Like I said, to me, I think you get the best of both worlds, but it can take something to get there. Yeah. So I'm interested to kind of know what you're able to talk about, what it took you to get there, what you need to overcome.
Yeah, well, for me, that was quite easy, actually, because I really wasn't particularly religious before. I was pretty much an atheist, and I converted to Muslim religion to marry Mariyam. So it was quite a straightforward thing for me to do. But I had absolutely no problem with it. I embrace it. I think it's fantastic. I've got to know the community. I've been to the mosque, and I think it's extremely peaceful. It's extremely inspiring, and it's just a beautiful thing to learn another religion. Not that I know much about other religions, but it's interesting, and I feel very comfortable and really, really happy with it. So. Yeah. I'm still not particularly religious, I must admit.
I never push
nobody
him
pushes
to, like,
me to.
That's no.
Nobody pushes me to go to the mosque and do this, that, and the other. I just participate in the family things and so on. And
my dad
that's
to
it.
support.
Yeah. It's great.
What a wonderful thing, because so I've been to the mosque and I've been just different experiences, Sufism, Hinduism, Buddhism. I've tried a few things, right? But what I love about Islam, is that it's a peace. But actually, all of those religions in their original form, they give you peace. This peace of mind, this ability just to be present in your body, right? And this ability to see us as one. And that's what I love. And when I look at you two, because I'm getting the view, you guys are getting a different view, but I'm getting this view. Like I get to see the love between you, and I get to see, like little things of how you help each other out, right? How you finish her sentences, some of them, and how you give them a nudge and give them that look. That look, right? Yeah. But it's beautiful, right? And these are the things which, only now in my relationship, am I coming even super more comfortable with her and everything about it, right? But it's that acceptance that I found to be probably one of the most powerful things, that if I have acceptance and empathy, then I'm unlimited.
But one of the most difficult things, I think, is what you said earlier, is the cultural differences. Getting to understand completely different culture. It takes time. You don't even realize that you need to do it. You don't even know what's going on half the time, that how you're saying things or your body language may actually be offending someone. and saying things that may be offending someone, where to you it's actually nothing. You're like, why are they pissed off at me? You know, things like that. It takes a long time to understand the traditions and the cultures, and that's interesting. It's great, you know. So I'm grateful.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And is there anything that comes up for you that you want to say?
No.
No, you're okay at the moment?
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, good. How you feeling, guys? You
Good,
feeling,
yeah.
Oh, yes.
You're feeling like
Feeling a bit jiggy.
a little bit jiggy. Give it a bit of a shake.
There we go.
Have a little bit of wine. All right. So look, let's move. Let's just move on. So now let's move on to keto. And so Keto Crunch Bali is your business, and so for
One of them.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Robbie. So now, if somebody wants to know, right, a definition or what is keto, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, I'm a certified primal and health and keto coach. So I've been doing this for 5 years, so I know what I'm talking about. A lot of people jump on the keto bandwagon and don't really know what they're talking about and doing, in particular when it comes to food. And that's the big problem also with people who want to become keto. They very often are doing it for the wrong reason. But the reasons are very often similar, but they don't understand how to do it. And that mostly, I would say 80% to 90% of the time, leads to them failing and giving up because they're not taking the time to be educated and just not understanding the process. Keto is basically, for me, I don't particularly like the name keto. It's a trend name. It basically means nothing other than the keto enzyme that our liver produces and shoots into the bloodstream. It's a protein enzyme. That's where the term has come from. And it basically means eating naturally as we were supposed to eat from before 3,000 years ago, when we were, a primal ancestor. What did they eat? Everything from the land that they could eat and animals that they would hunt and gather, because that's what they had to do. Now, that's eating naturally, eating as close as you possibly can to the source. Of course, we can't go hunting and gathering here. We get in trouble for that. But fishing, you can. Eating as much natural food as you can, in particular, again, not just the meats and the vegetables. It's also avoiding all the other bad things that are in people's everyday diets without them really understanding. And that's the main culprit is sugar. Sugar is awful. Sugar is far more addictive than both heroin and cocaine, and cause far more damage to the body and mind. And grains, gluten. We're not supposed to eat grains. So everything that's actually made with grains, be that bread, pasta, rice is a grain, noodles, and so on, cornflakes, all cereals, all that stuff is high in gluten, which comes from milled flour. So grains milled into flour, which is super high in carbohydrate, which turns into glucose, i.e. sugar, in your bloodstream. And that causes huge inflammation internally. Inflammation of the organs, inflammation of you become bloated, you retain a lot of water, and the sugar, of course, the glucose, which is sugar in your bloodstream, makes your arteries thicken, causes plaque, and it makes it sticky, and therefore proteins can't get through, cholesterol proteins can't get through and get stuck, causing heart attack and stroke.
Got it.
And besides that, of course, a lot of obesity and all kinds of other illnesses that come along with the problem sugar and wheat gluten cause.
So then the bit which not the bit, I love the story of how you came to keto, right? So perhaps if you could spend like a minute or so.
That was a tough one.
Know.
I was going through a very, very rough time at the time. I'd been through 15, 20 years of business after my skiing career, and basically living the high life. We were growing, making a lot of money. As I said to you earlier, I didn't care about anything. Just give me the money. I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I want to do well and be, well known in the business world. And I just started, getting, more and more unhealthy, sick, fat, depressed, to the point where back in 2015, that all led to a divorce back then to my previous wife, and me breaking down. I ended up having a stroke, actually back in 2014, because of the health issues I had and the medication I was taking for 16 years for heartburn, stomach acid, for which I had a horrible operation, which cost me a year of my life, so I couldn't basically move, which was useless, that operation, by the way. It's all down to food. And then I came to Bali. after the divorce was finalized in 2016, I came to Bali because I came here 16 years ago for my honeymoon, and I hadn't been back since. And then I came here and went, okay, I want to change my life. I want to come back to Bali, and I want to start over fresh. And as I was here, I received an email in my inbox about this whole keto primal lifestyle. From that point on, I studied the course for a year and became a health coach, and that was the beginning of it. And I changed, went back to the US at the time, and then came back. Lived here more or less on and off the last 3 years. So.
Wonderful. And then, so thank you for explaining that. So if I ask you this question, right, again, just comes up. So the food is medicine I'm going to come back to, right? So those 15 years where you're working corporate, trying to dominate the game, right? And you were, right, from that financial point of view. So the question I ask you, and whatever comes into your mind, what do you think was missing?
Was missing back then during those years? Well, I had quite a lot of money coming in. I was living in beautiful houses, had nice cars. I had a relationship, I had kids, so I had all that going on, but missing was basically, I think, the satisfaction. Again, I adore my kids, love you guys, and most grateful I have those two back in the States. But there's a sense of purpose missing, definitely, because you're just working your way, and then you're just working for the purpose of getting more money, gathering more toys. I used to love the saying, "He who dies with the most toys wins." I used to love that. I think it's the most ridiculous thing ever. So what was missing then was just simply any direction for me, because I also ended up getting very depressed towards the end of that part of my life, and which pretty much very closely led to almost suicide at that point in 2015. So there was a sense of purpose, direction, not really understanding what I want from life at all. And this change, when I basically gave me that part, I have a lot less money today. I'm still struggling to rebuild what I used to have, but I'm happy with the little I've got, because I know we have a very, very bright future ahead with what we can do. Writing, blogging, trying to write a book right now, working with our Keto Crunch Bakery and our Keto Bakery Bali, the cafe side, and also working with Mark Baker. I'm now a partner, co-owner in the BeachGarden, with Mariyam being GM there as well, co-GM. Yeah,
so Mariyam, I'll come back to food as medicine in a second. So Mariyam, so one thing which I found with couples, right, is that, the feminine, and this is a big generalization, right, but the feminine has a real picture of what the masculine can become. It's like you have this person in front of you and you say, okay, right now you might be a pawn, but really you're a king, right? So it's like what you see, right, is not what is right now, but it's what can be in the future. And when I meet people who are driven, right, with purpose, and you've got that look in the eye, that something's going on, right? They're up to stuff. To me, that's extremely infectious, and it's something which is attractive, right? It's something which is like, oh, this girl is like, let's do this, let's get on, right? Now, so like for you, how did his sense of purpose impact you?
Well,
maybe a tricky one for you to answer, right?
Yeah.
How did my sense of purpose impact her? Well, I think, because for Mariyam to understand the question, I think maybe she probably hadn't met someone like me before in her circles who had the drive and giving her also the opportunity to get to that next level and take responsibility for her life instead of being sheltered, like I was saying before. So I think that's...
Yeah, because you changed my life too. Yeah, before I met you, yeah.
But she inspired me, by the way, hugely, because she's so active. She's hiking the mountains. She's been up every single volcano in Bali.
Hobby.
Yeah. She's been everywhere. She's crazy. So that's nature-loving girls. Fantastic.
Yeah, same.
Love it.
Same hobby.
Love
everything.
It. And so in the future, so is there an idea for you on what you would like to create? And that could be business. Now, this is for both of you, by the way. I'm looking at you, but both of you can answer it together or individually.
Maybe we will build more, especially for keto, right?
Yeah, I think our mission of course,
Our
is
mission.
to
Make a big.
well, it's several. I mean, at the moment we have a big challenge working with Mark and the BeachGarden, because that's a massive project, and we're super proud to be part of that. And it's fantastic that we can involve ourselves in that, and also the whole keto health organic aspect.
Yeah.
And we just want to be able to educate together.
Yeah, help people especially.
Mariyam makes all this stuff. You know, we got all these treats and snacks and goodies and desserts, and plus we have everything else savory too. And just to be able to educate people and give them the opportunity to learn about how to eat properly and provide them the food, and also provide them the ways to do it. It's not just about selling, it's not just about making money, it's also about just letting them know how they can do it themselves. And if they're willing to think, try, educate themselves, become healthier, that's our main inspiration, I think, together. And of course, again, at the same time, we both greatly promote going outdoors, going into nature, you know, exploring Bali, exploring wherever you may be, no matter what time of year it is, you know, summer, winter, whatever. You've got to get outside, you've got to walk, you've got to spend time in nature, because that's what keeps you healthy, moving. So it's not just about the food, because the food alone is a big part, but you know, you have to actually move your body properly. If you're not moving, if you're sedentary, sitting at home watching TV all day long, or just in the office working and not doing anything, just going to the beach and sitting there watching the sunset, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help your heart, and it's not going to help you burn calories either, or inspire you. So it's about educating people, and that's what comes down to the primal lifestyle. It's not just about the keto food, it's about understanding how to really benefit, to do things in life that benefit your mind and body across the board.
Got it. And so this one is definitely for you, Mariyam. Now, the slogan of Indonesia, the Binika
Tunggal Ika.
Yeah. And so when I say that, what comes up for you? You know, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, because we are many culture, especially we have many islands here. Especially same like my family, like my dad from Flores and my mom from Maluku, and I was born here. So we are different, but respect each other. Especially in Bali, many ceremony and respect. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, so Binika Tunggal Ika is it means unity in diversity.
Yes.
Unity in diversity, and it's a slogan for Indonesia.
Yeah.
Right, so it underpins Indonesia, and there's an incredible story with Gobel, the Panasonic guy, of how that came to be. That I found out the other day about how there's like 600 different languages, 300 different tribes in Indonesia, and obviously you've got thousands and thousands of islands. And after I think it was the Dutch were kind of moving out, it was a case of how do we connect Indonesia together with all of its varying tribes and different languages and different religions and all the rest of that. And what they did is that they gave as many radios out for free as they could to anyone and everyone throughout Indonesia. And then on that radio show, on the radio, they spoke Bahasa Indonesia, right? And that was a way to kind of bring everybody together. So unity and diversity. And that, I'm still getting goosebumps.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an extremely strong slogan, yeah.
It's an amazing story, and like I love that slogan. It just hits me every time I even talk about it. I get little goosebumps and a little smile comes out. Because you see, you two as a couple, that's what you're doing, right? Yeah. You're championing that cause, right? Unity and diversity. I look at you two and that's what I see, right? And that's what other people see. I am absolutely sure a power couple who's pioneering keto here, and it's unity and diversity. I love it. So like if people want to contribute to you, right? So they want to, they're not necessarily help or support, but they want to contribute to you. So what is it that you need right now? And this is not coming from a needy point of view, but need coming from we give and receive love in different ways. So where you're up to right now, what is it that you need, or what is it that you require, perhaps from people who are watching now?
Mostly just to be open-minded and to potentially, you know, if you what can I say? Need? I mean, don't really need anything as such. The thing I would like is for people to listen to what we've got to say, to read the blog, to read about what, you know, the keto lifestyle, the primal lifestyle is all about, and what it really means. Because people very often seem to be closed-minded when it comes to that. And I help people every day, individually and collectively online, you know. And it's great. It feels great when you sense that person's, you know, thankfulness and they want to change. But it's also disappointing when you see a couple of weeks later that they've given up because they're not educating themselves and not listening. So it's just, what I would like is people just to have an open mind, educate, read up on the subject, read up on, you know, what keto really is all about, paleo, you know, primal, and try to understand how we're actually supposed to eat, or try to understand what the foods that you're putting in your body now, how damaging they are for you. You know, that's a starting point, because where does all the cancer come from? Cancer comes from terrible things that we're ingesting. You know, one of the biggest culprits is the oil that everybody uses and cooks in. Canola oil, palm oil, it's horrible. It's full of chemicals, and it's just poisonous. Yet, even here, everybody cooks in it. You know, we only cook in coconut oil and butter, high fat, natural. So it's just, you know, we want to educate, we want to help people get healthy, get well, and you know, if they want to help us spread the message, that would be the best thing that we can do.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. And look, so I just want to delve into this food as medicine, all right? And so when I say to you, now Rob, Mariyam, like, so food is medicine, what does that mean to you? What thoughts come up? What stories come up?
Well, that's very easy for me. As I said earlier, I had a terrible situation. Of course, I was an athlete for most of my life, so always training, always strong in my mind, thinking. And I realized I was getting bigger around the waist. I was 20 kilos heavier, you know, some 4 or 5 years ago. And between the age of 25 and 30, I was frequently in hospital, in the ambulance, because I was breaking down, vomiting, and passing out because of the most vicious stomach acid, heartburn. It was horrible. The doctors couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. Anyway, in the end, it turns out, so they said that my esophagus, the muscle here, the closing muscle to the stomach, was broken because of all the training, so all the acid was just shooting up into my mouth and ads, which can cause cancer of the esophagus, of course. So they then promptly performed an operation called a Nissen fundoplication on me, which means they wrap around the stomach, part of the stomach around your esophagus down the exiting part to close it, so that the acid can't come up as much, to stop cancer developing and so on. Okay, the problem with that was the operation itself almost killed me because it was done badly by an inexperienced doctor. Secondly, they did not know anything about nutrition. This was in I was 30 years old, so it's 20 years ago. They didn't know anything about nutrition. So I was just back onto whatever I was eating before. I couldn't eat for 1 year. I was drinking the Ensure stuff, you know, the protein drinks. I could not smell food. I couldn't eat anything. I lost 15 kilos. I was a wreck for 1 whole year until I finally recovered on tablets again, because the acid reflux did not go away. Why? Because of the food that I was eating. Then I was on the Prilosec, proton pump inhibitors, and other things like that for 15, 16 years, which finally led to a stroke. Then, when I gave up, when I realized what was going on with the food and changed everything, I'm not on any medication anymore, and I have no acid whatsoever. So that operation and what I went through was all a waste of time and useless, because it was all down to the food, and the medication almost caused me to be gone. And on top of that, of course, all the other things that I developed, wasn't able to sleep, massive headaches, depression, etc., all required one new medication prescription after another, until before you know it, you're on 10 or 12, completely dependent on the stuff, and you can't function.
Got it.
And that's all down to food leading you down, you know, the wrong path, you know. So.
And thank you, Robbie. And so, Mariyam, so we're here in Bali. You're born here in Bali. So, what is for locals? So, the diet. Is it a diet that's hunter-gatherer in terms of keto in that sense, or is it a diet that's reliant upon instant noodle, or what if I ask you, you know, about the Balinese traditional diet through a keto sense? Like, is it healthy, unhealthy? How is it?
Yeah, because more like special me before I don't have idea about the keto, and then I learned many things from my husband. I learned before is same eating many things like noodles, burger, like junk food,
Junk food.
And I try. I mean, since now it's already 1 year, and it's like more different to me. Better, I feel better. I'm not like before I eat rice, and after that it's tired like that. So and many friends asked me about the keto. How about the keto? What is keto? And then how about you make a cookies and everything? So yeah, but mostly it's not. They don't have a diet. There's an
if I can just jump in there, because it's quite an important point. The problem is, well, Mariyam, first of all, she suffered from very bad skin condition, and she was quite a bit overweight down here and bloated. Her skin is completely cleared up, and she lost all that bloatedness, which is water retention from the excessive carbohydrate intake, sugar intake. The problem here is, of course, as we know, also because of tradition, economic situation, rice is the staple food, is the main base of any food, and is eaten 2 to 3 times a day, a lot. And along with that, a lot of sauces that contain sugar, drinks that contain sugar, so all of that leads to a big health problem. And now, as Mariyam is saying, many people are asking, locals are asking us, older, younger, a complete mix of people, how to do this, and their first thinking is, oh, we can't do this, it's too expensive, we can't afford it. But again, that's actually not true. Not true, yeah. You just, all you need to do is okay, this stuff, our treats and snacks is more expensive to your regular traditional stuff because it's made from almond flour, which is just 10 times more expensive than regular white flour. That's just the nature of that problem here. But it's actually quite cheap and affordable to eat healthy keto-style food in all of Indonesia, because you just have to eat more vegetables and meat. It be that chicken, fish, which are both very easily attainable and affordable, and the vegetables are too. And replacing palm oil, canola oil with coconut oil gives you that high fat, because we need to have a lot of fat in the diet, to healthy fats. So it's very doable and manageable. And eggs, of course, as well. We've got plenty of eggs here. Again, healthy eggs better than the normal eggs, because they contain antibiotics as well if they're not organic. And avocados, and again, abundance of avocados here. So it's actually easy and affordable as long as people care to learn a little bit about it.
What I'm getting, and you can correct me if I'm mistaken, is that with keto, following that diet and that way of being, there's a drop of weight, skin's clearing up, you feel like you have more energy to kind of go throughout your day doing what you usually do, and obviously with energy comes optimism, right? Because at the end of the day, if we're operating at this high energy frequency, then things are easier and we manifest easier, and we just go through life in a way that is beautiful, right? If we're down here, then everything is tough and hard. I'm pulling myself over rocks to get this done.
It totally changes your perspective, because you visually change. I mean, I'm 51. I'm only 70 kilos now. I was 90 before, bloated, and my skin was kind of like fading, and I just looked blunt, and now I've as you say, tired and not sleeping, and I still have some sleeping problems here and there. That's mostly because I'm busy, things like that. But you got all this energy because you're burning fat instead of glucose. You turn into this fat-burning metabolism. You become a lean fat-burning machine. I've got no fat on my body, even though I'm consuming fat, just muscle and skin. And you've got energy all day long, like a log burning slowly all day long, as opposed to throwing in twigs into a fire and down. That's like that's the analogy.
Thanks, Robbie. So you're a coach, right? So if people are watching this now and saying, you know what, I love the idea of this. I recognize and acknowledge within myself that I am overweight. I'm carrying too much weight, and my brain is foggy and I can't focus, right? So so maybe I can get Rob as like a health coach. How do they reach out to you?
Easy. They just have to could email me at rob@robshealthcrunch.com, or via my Instagram. It's Rob Hourmont Crunch, and via your links. I'm easy to find.
Absolutely. and
so Mariyam, of course.
There you go. And what's the time period? So if I come to you, I'm overweight, I've got all of those things going that we mentioned before. If there's a general thing, if you follow what you're saying and not give up a few weeks later, if I follow what you're saying, how long does it take for me to start to see results?
Well, the rule of thumb is basically 3 to 4 weeks is the minimum time period your body requires to reset itself, to transform out of the glucose carbohydrate metabolism into the fat-burning metabolism. Because don't forget, your whole life you've been eating sugar, and that's what your body's burning, and now it has to look like desperately, you're restricting the body from the glucose, the carbohydrates and sugar. So it's like, oh God, how do I get energy now? And then it takes that body time to, oh, I got fat. I can burn the fat. Oh, I didn't realize that's nice. Yeah. So that takes about 3 to 4 weeks. And then, of course, so during that period, you go through all kinds of ups and downs, sleepless nights. You can get aggressive, stressed, lose energy and so on. So it can be quite a stressful time. Once you suddenly, boom, one morning you wake up, shit, I feel good. What's going on? And then, of course, so that's the next step then. Then you've reached the fat-burning metabolism state. And you're keto, that's when you're really ketogenic. Everyone else is saying, oh, I'm keto after a week. That's bullshit. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. So then is staying there. That's the key. That's the key. And this is something I struggle with because I've been doing this for 5 years non-stop. I've never cheated. Have never gone out. What I did create is this stuff with Mariyam, so people could enjoy sweets and treats in a healthy way, sugar-free, grain-free. But I just, once you get to that stage and you realize how your body's changed and how much better you feel and look, and you can perform with everything, why go back and start eating a freaking nasty pizza again and French fries when you know what it's going to do to you? But people do, and that's what I struggle with. So try keeping people on track is a whole nother devil animal to deal with. So
then 2 questions quickly come up. So one is that if I'm watching the show now, and I'm interested in this, maybe I'm not going to reach out and call you. What are 3 things that I could or should do starting today or starting tomorrow that will start to turn me on to this? I know you said them before, but let's give people 3 things that they can walk away with right now.
Very simple. First of all, do a pantry clean. Throw out all the sugar. Throw out I was about to say all your grains and rice and stuff like that, but better is in fact to taper. So the easiest way is, say if you're eating half a plate of rice and you're eating a little bit of meat, a little bit of vegetables, cut that rice in half, double up on the vegetables and meat if you can. And go like that for a week and then cut that rice in half again. And you keep going with every meal for like a week or 2. And when you feel ready, you can then get rid of the grains completely. So that's step 1. And step 2 is buy a lot of healthy eggs, because you can eat a lot of eggs and avocados. And just make sure you've got a good source of meat. The higher quality the better, because of course again it's down to how the animals have been raised from multiple perspectives. From the humanitarian perspective, have they been going through? They go through the conventional farms where they're basically treated like crap and fed all kinds of antibiotics and nasty stuff, which then you consume if you're buying that meat, and they have a horrible life. Or you're getting organic produce, which is animals who've led a decent long life, have been treated humanely, and you're eating healthy food. Of course, that's a price issue. Organic meats and vegetables are always going to be more expensive. So it's a hard one too.
So how can we get this bigger, right? Because clearly, right, this is good stuff. Yeah. Right, it's good. It's good for us to follow. It's good for us to look into, and get busy with. Right, but I find that that the biggest blocks or the biggest challenges is getting the word out there, and then adoption. Right. So first is getting it out there, marketing that side of it, then adoption. And adoption comes in when governments decide to say, okay, in our school curriculum, the kids are going to learn about keto. In our school curriculum, which we're going to roll out nationwide, this is going to be something that we're really purposeful, because we want to look after our generation and the next one coming up to be healthy, to be sharper, smarter, quicker, right?
Well, that would be nice, but
yeah, so
that's a long shot.
Yeah, so where are you in that process, and is that a way to do it, or are you looking? What's your strategy, or is there another way that you're thinking about doing it?
Well, that's just not going to happen for many reasons. Economically being one of them. If you look at the States or Europe, in particular the States, where I spent the last 10 years before being here. I mean, now people are understanding a lot more about it. So because it's out there, you go into pretty much every supermarket and you can buy organic produce, meats and vegetables and so on for a reasonable price. Very little difference. So that's making that more accessible to people. It's just about education. It's about unfortunately, governments don't contribute to that at all. They don't really care, because again, I believe they have another agenda with this. Let's not forget the standard American diet is SAD. The pyramid, basically, the main part of the pyramid is carbohydrates as the food source, and they even recommend a little bit of sweets and so on. It's just wrong. And the bottom line is, everybody, particularly in America with the fast food industry, and because that's the cheapest food for people to buy with the low income situation in America, the majority of the population living close to minimum wage or in poverty, in fact, have no choice but to buy those things. And then, of course, they're suffering all kinds of illnesses, diseases, and getting more and more sick. And from that, the pharmaceutical industry is benefiting, the insurance industries, and of course the medical industry. And it's a sad state of affairs, but it's not going to go away anytime soon unless the government puts incentives in place.
What can we do?
Got to keep working at it, got to keep plugging it away and joining forces with as many people who we can, who have a reach, particularly, I mean, many people are doing great things in the US. One guy in particular, Mark Sisson, I have to thank Mark Sisson. He's the founder of the Primal Lifestyle, and he wrote the famous book, the Primal Blueprint, which got me started. So he's doing wonderful things. He's helped thousands of people. We need more people like that here, because now I'm here with Mariyam. We've got to get connected with people who are connected, the government, politicians, industry, so we can help educate, provide, not just rice. Bringing rice bags is wonderful, but it's not going to help people in the long term avoiding sickness. We've got to help people get healthy food, That's vegetables. I tell you something else. If I have a choice between eating rice and just vegetables, I'll be vegetarian and no rice, and no meat, because that's way healthier than the 80-90% rice rule that they got going on here. So that's it. It's quite simple. We need people who can connect and network. We need politicians. We need entrepreneurs, people who in business who will listen, who will help us get the message out. So getting back to your question from before, that's what we need.
Yeah, great.
And educating, kids and families, getting those, making it accessible, educating.
Yeah. That thing about family, I think, is key, right? That's the next generation coming up for sure. And so, Mariyam, so is there anything coming up for you at the moment? Maybe something, like you're obviously here. Yeah, you were born in Bali, so you know Bali better than all of us sitting here. And are you hopeful about the future of Bali and the population in regard to the diet and reliance upon rice and?
Yeah, it's the same like Rob said, that I want to bring the education from especially kids here to start to eating like snack. Yeah, can be, but healthy also. So still have to bring the education about that.
There's a long way to
So,
go.
yeah, so
I mean, there's a lot of
many things.
Foreigners here who are interested in what we're doing. Also, quite a good number of locals, but older people mostly, suffering already. So trying to find a way back to health. But the problem is, as you said, the families and the younger kids, and getting that information out there. So that's something we just have to try to figure out and start some sort of a grassroots movement if we can.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but we have to try.
Got to try.
Yeah.
And the question pops in, so I love having you guys on the show, because to me you're, again, that unity in diversity. Right, I love that big time. Binika tungul ika. Right, I love that big time. The other thing is people inspire people, and you guys inspire me. Right, you did from the moment I met you, and you do too, Mariyam. Like I get more
inspire
about
us too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I get more of that silent strength and intensity from you.
That's true.
The Rob shares at home.
She's a tame lion until she's not.
I see it.
Oh,
that is
God.
beautiful, actually, but I see it, love it. So then if we take a step back, so there are people who are watching us now and see a beautiful couple, right? They see that we're here in Bali. They see your smile. They see your skin, that you look great, and you're alive, and you've got a purpose, right? So it's easy for people to disconnect from the fact that you've been through a lot of tough stuff, right? Because people don't really talk about the tough stuff. They kind of gloss over it, and now I'm successful, right? And people don't really want to know that stuff, really. It's like, what were you like when the chips were down? What were you like when you're in that position where you thought, I'm done? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do, right? So I'll attention to both of you. I know Rob, you're going to talk into this, but if I ask you now, right, what was the toughest moment for you? The toughest moment that comes up, and how did you get yourself out of it? If it was you or somebody else.
Well, like I said, I mean, the toughest time for me was when I realized I was basically fucking up left, right, and center, and I was losing everything I'd earned, made, because I was depressed, drinking like a fish, taking drugs. That's my time in France, by the way, when I lived in Saint-Tropez, to my French friend over there. 10 years of Saint-Tropez, my friend, that can take you down a notch. It did. I can't even tell you the amount of money I spent there and the amount of drugs I did. And rosé I drank. The only thing I do today is drink rosé because I love it, and it's actually keto friendly. Because it's okay. So that was it basically. I put myself into such a dark hole because I was just selfish, screwing up. Then I was, of course, by nature, you're just going. You're going around this. You're circling around the sink. Yeah. Very slowly.
How did you get out?
Well, I hit rock bottom at the time when I was in the States, and I basically was super depressed and was attempting suicide. And my son saved my butt basically by calling the now ex-wife in to get me out of there and save my butt. And that's when I realized I have to get my shit together.
Oh, so what did your son do?
Well, he saw me in a huge mess on the bed, stuffing my face with sleeping pills. So he called the mother to call the ambulance. So.
Wow. Yeah. And how old was he when he saw this?
I was, how many years ago was this? 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So he would have been 12.
Yeah. A 12-year-old had the presence of mind.
Yep. He's an amazing kid. They both are. They're incredible. Yeah.
Mamma mia. And so if he was watching now, right, what would you say to him about that?
Well, I'd say, Reese, you're my best friend. I love you like nothing else. And thank you for just saving my butt back then, understanding, and that you're still talking to me. Thank you very much. And Brooke, too. I love you.
Wow. Got it. Thank you. Mamma mia. Now I'm getting a bit teary. Ooh, again, last week there was waterworks for me. That was crazy. Thank you, my man.
But, it takes time. You don't just step out of it within a day or two. That whole process took a good 2 more years before I found myself coming to Bali, finding peace of mind, studying meditation here with Guru Madhusumantra up in Ubud. That helped me a lot. And just, finding the way and being in Bali, surrounded by the Balinese people and the culture and the way of life here, was able to bring myself down, calm myself and see sense, and instead of fear and anger and depression, so that took time.
One of the
it
things
still comes back sometimes.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Robbie. So one of the things which, is becoming more apparent to me, and it's the way you view life, right? So I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm just saying. So when I look back, as I look now, I actually have the opinion and the knowing that life is actually working in our favor, right? Even when there's some huge fucking challenges coming your way, but when you have a bit of hindsight, you're able to see that life is actually trying to make you better. It's trying to evolve you. It's trying to allow you to become the best version of yourself. So if I say that, what comes up for you?
Well, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. You ask what you get for. These are facts, and of course, the negativity that surrounded me was because I was being so negative at the time, and I got what I was asking for because I was being an asshole. So that's it. And then you have to fall into traps. You have to be taught a lesson. And I'm sure these things happened to A, save my life on the one hand, and B, you got another chance here, mate. And then these things at the time, you think, shit, how am I ever going to get out of this? A horrible divorce which cost me a fortune, and that just shattered me. But now I'm remarried with a beautiful wife, and I couldn't be happier. So, again, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here today. So
it's amazing how it works. And so, Mariyam, with you, was there any moments for you, like any darker moments or moments where you were really unsure? And if so, like how did you find your way out?
No, in my life, no.
No. She's just been steady, cruising away.
Just steady. Love it. But then, at the end of the day,
maybe I'm married with Rob. Oh no.
Okay. Good one, thank you.
No.
The marriage was the biggest challenge.
Well, they all are.
And
they're easy.
And the biggest solution.
Yeah.
Love it.
Exactly.
Love it. So look, the audience here, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll either give you this microphone or another microphone, or just shout your question out and I can repeat it for those who are at home. All right, so that's coming very soon in the next 30, 40 seconds. Until then, I just want to quickly thank the guys at Tropical Nomad, Itchy and Bella. Every week, I definitely want to thank them because they're incredible, right? And we do this, as I was saying to the guys before, because we recognize, Itchy, Bella and I, we recognize our part to play in this jigsaw puzzle of life and uplifting humanity, right? So our part to play is about getting a message out, asking questions, finding things out, and laying it in a way without ego, just laying it out in a way that people can actually see and relate to it and see, fuck, that was me. I could do this, or maybe they're in a dark place, because SpeakuP Monday was on a Monday deliberately because that's the day that most people commit suicide, right? So I did it deliberately, right, to create that positive dent in the universe, as positive we could get it, as like a stone that you drop in a pond of still water, and the ripples affect the whole. And those ripples are ripples of positivity, but also clarity or authenticity. And sometimes we don't need to know the answer. We just need to feel someone else's authenticity to know that we're not alone. And we find our own way out. Like there's a lifeline, someone that just kind of drops in, and we kind of, in the darkness, or scrapping around, it's like this thing that's like, oh, that just might be the way out. And then we're not sure, but then we try it, and it's like, it's still there, and then we put another arm in there, and it's like, oh, it's still there, and then we have another one. But it takes people who believe in us as well. That's a lot of the time, because we don't know, like like your 12-year-old, that's blowing me away, because it's like, as we said before, giving love and receiving love. A lot of human beings have a trouble of receiving love, not giving, but receiving. And your son, man, he gave you some love that day, Bella, which changed the course, changed the course of your life, So I love hearing these stories. I love hearing the reinforcement of them. And each week we find a different way into that. People inspire people, and Binika Tunggu, Ika, unity and diversity. So no matter who's sitting here, it's the same message, right? But we interpret it differently because we look at somebody, and based upon our life experience, we look at them differently, which allows us to either get under the bonnet or to stay passive and not really listen really connect, which is incredible. All right, so any questions, beautiful people over there, just put your hand up. Yes, so we're going to get one microphone to you. So maybe use this one and your foot. Cool. So with the microphone, mate, just tip it towards you.
Okay. Rob, I just one question. When you moved to keto diet, how was the impact on your psyche when you really switch fuel and really get away from glucose?
Psychologically, you mean?
Psychologically. How do you evolve? How do you feel when you really get in it? Does it make a change, or you were already feeling better and already in the way of...
No, it doesn't work that way. It's you're basically you're working your way into this. First, if you understand it and you're willing to commit to take the time to eat properly and change get rid of the bad habits, that's the step number one. And then once you finally, like I said before, you wake up one day and you realize your pants aren't fitting. Your pants are actually falling off all the time. And then you start to see that your body's looking better. Oh, and look better in the mirror. And then you notice your face is looking better. Your skin's looking better. And then you feel the energy. And then you suddenly realize, wow, this feels great. And then that's when I also got my confidence back, because I lost all my confidence back then. Being a former Olympic athlete, most of my life I was an athlete. I just basically started crapping myself with everything I was doing. I didn't have the confidence anymore. And then suddenly, being healthy again and feeling so much better, all that confidence came back, which makes you feel so much stronger in your mind. In a real way, not with like a drug, It's quite amazing.
No, that's great. And all many, my question was about like the timeline for this to be really...
I would say about 3 months, because it takes about 4 weeks to 5 weeks, 3 to 5 weeks, depending on your system to convert into the ketogenic, the fat burning process. But before you actually start to understand the way your mind is changing, it takes a little bit longer. So you really can't just go, oh, okay, I'm burning fat now, so I feel different up here. It takes time to understand that change before you then actually see how you are able to process things daily differently. Stress levels, situations that you would have gotten into before you know, be on the cops, with the cops on the highway, you know, you had a fight, I would have got out the car and I'd try to fight with them, and now I'm like, okay, I'm fine, you know, take it easy, slow down, relax, you know, so that takes definitely a bit longer. And of course, it also depends on your environment, you know, who you're around and what's going on in your life. It's a bit more complicated, that one.
Oh, you made a complete change.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm still a bit crazy, you know, I have that in me, I will admit, and I'm definitely not always calm. I have my moments, but before it was much, much worse. Out of control type thing before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great question, Arno. Thank you so much, mate. Anybody else have a question? No?
No.
Cool. So look, like this is what it looks like, right? So I've never done this before, but Robbie, can you just put this up and explain what we're looking at?
These are the goodies we make. These are little chocolate chip cookies, for example, maybe the almond flour and dark chocolate chips in there, 75% chocolate or 80% dark chocolate, so very low in sugar content and high in antioxidant, which is healthy for the bloodstream. It clears the free radicals. And so basically no sugar. Stevia is a sweetener, so they still have calories. You can't eat too many of them because the more calories you put in your body, the more you have to burn the calories. So, but they're healthy. They're sugar-free. They're grain-free. And the same with the granola here. It's all nuts, seeds, and some berries only, and a bit of stevia as a sweetener. And we make pancake mix as well, which is nice. So you just have to put water in here, and you can make your own pancakes at home, and a bunch of other things too along those lines. So it's just giving people the opportunity to grab these little snacks and not feel guilty as you're eating them, because they're not bad for you at all. But if you eat the whole bag, I wouldn't recommend that either.
I'm definitely going to grab some for our kids. Guilty as charged, right? What we're feeding our kids. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, So, mate, this is life trying to upgrade me, saying, Rob, you need to change your kids' diet. I think that one's definitely coming. So thanks for that.
Yeah, sure. The sooner you can, the better.
Yeah, far out. Yeah, it's loud and clear. So in a minute, right, I'm gonna come back to you two, and would love you to say something closing. Right, it can be long, it can be short, and it's something which maybe is close to your heart or not, but something that you wish people to understand or wish people to get. Maybe you said it before. Doesn't matter, you can repeat it. Or if it's something different that you haven't said already, but you're feeling that call to say it, right? In about 30, 40 seconds to a minute, we'll give you that opportunity, right? So next week we have beautiful guy, Made Janur Yasa. Yes, and this is it's going to be put into a bit of context tonight after you told me about the rice. Damn you, Robbie. So he created, you got it, the plastic and non-organic materials exchange program for rice, which is empowering many local Balinese, financially, mentally as well. And he's going to be on the show. He's another man with the same haircut as me. We haven't even met properly, right? This was somebody who said, hey, this will be a great guy to have on your show. And on that note, so this is the Indonesia Series, right? So Destination Indonesia. So if you feel that there's someone of Indonesian heritage or culture, there could be a couple like Miriam and Rob, or there could be an individual, feel free to get in touch with me, because again, this is about sharing messages. Always inspirational messages, no doubt about that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you come with all this heightened positive energy. Inspiration comes through overcoming adversity. Inspiration comes in many different forms, right? So just sitting down in this seat, and you'll know it because you'll be watching it now thinking, you know what, I've got a little tug from the universe is kind of saying that I should do this. So get in touch with me before you let like the self-sabotage come and say, I couldn't do that. So you can hit me up, SpeakuP Monday or Robert Ian Bonnick, Instagram, Facebook, and a whole bunch, even on LinkedIn actually. So Robert Ian Bonnick, just send me a message. And look, you can always volunteer friends. I've got lots of people who have volunteered friends very successfully, right? So you can do the same as well. But I'd love to have you here because, as I mentioned before, people inspire people. and unity in diversity is what this whole show is underpinned by. And any human being who's sitting where they are now has the power to do that. Whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. I just know it to be true, right? So that's from me. So now I'm going to go to Rob and Mariyam. Firstly, I just want to acknowledge you guys for coming on the show and being open to this process and open to the process of not knowing.
That's fine. My pleasure.
Of not.
Pleasure.
What should we prepare? Nothing. What should we bring? Bring some Keto Crunch if you want. What should we think about? Nothing. Because it's just about you. It's about what makes you tick. It's about what drives you, what inspires you, what allows you to overcome things in your life. Right. This is what it's about, and this is what I love. So. Ooh, bit of breath, come down, breathe it in, breathe it out.
There you go.
Over to you, brother.
You need some rosé.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, yes.
What can I say? Well, it's simple, really. First of all, don't give up, ever. Always believe in yourself, no matter how down and out you may feel. If you feel that way, talk to as many people as you can, friends, family, anybody, just to make sure you can just find that way out of the hole that you were talking about earlier, because a lot of people go through this problem with depression. It's a big problem that's basically swept under the carpet a lot and needs attention, a lot of attention. We just had a sad story a couple of days ago in Bali, another suicide of a friend of her family jumped off a building for the same reason. So that's the most important thing. Always seek help, never give up, think that you always have a future. Be positive, talk to people, ask the universe for what you want, because you will get it. You just got to try, and that's really it. As far as the health side is concerned, food, well, you just got to. If you're not doing well, you got to do something about that too. You got to look at the mirror and say, okay, what have I got to do here now? And just going through a diet for a week or two is not going to change that problem. So you got to figure out something else, and the something else is, I have to say, the only way that works is eating naturally. Let's call it that.
Love it. Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate it. And Mariyam, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah. I mean, this is all. My husband is already the same. Like my husband, like I said. Yeah, for me, it's like, especially in here, so we have to respect each other. Different culture, especially like me, my husband is different culture, and we are different, many things here, different religion, but just respect each other. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And it ties in with Binika, Tunggalika, right? Because it's about respect.
Respect and support each other.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah.
It's different, but it's the same.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And so as we finish up, remember Tropical Nomad every Monday, and now we're doing it so you can come and join us in the audience. So feel free to come and join us or catch it online and share this, guys. If you're moved by it, share it to other people. We will be dramatically upgrading this whole platform in the next period of time. It's a little master plan there, but it relies upon you sharing it and caring, right? And this is what it's really all about. So I just want to thank the guys in the audience who came. Thank you so much for your support, guys, and appreciate it. Yeah, and where do we find your products is the final question.
We are located at the BeachGarden in Batu Belong, BeachGarden restaurant. It's 103 Batu Belong, Jalan Batu Belong. We can deliver. Keto Crunch is the name. Keto Crunch Bali. So we'll leave you the info. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Itchy, Bella, Tropical Nomad. Love you guys. Thank you so much. See you next week, guys. Thank you.